Hello, this is the SC3 podcast. What number is this?
This is episode 5.
5. My name is Koki. I'm with the Positivity Booth, the Positivity Recovery Foundation. I'm addict in recovery, long-term recovery. I work with mental illness, working to bring resources back here with Lieutenant Blodgett.
So I'm Lieutenant Blodgett. I work with the Sheriff's Office here in Sheboygan County. Met Koki while he was dancing in our lobby, and here we are.
Yes. I was just dancing out there earlier, actually. Again.
always dancing.
And we are here with Julie from Mental Health America Lakeshore.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about some of the resources that bring to the community, and I'm going to touch on how I met you as well. So you want to just tell us a little bit about you and Mental Health America?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. I've been in this field of nonprofit and community service work for about 30 years. I come to my role as executive director with experience around incarceration. I worked on a study with girls for 5 years in Florida, trying to prevent them going into the adult system. I worked for the military in New York, overseeing their investigation of suicides for the state. I've done public health initiatives, and throughout all of that, just an overarching goal of reducing stigma around mental illness and making sure that people get into the services that they need.
I didn't even know some of that stuff. Wow, that's amazing.
So I have been at the helm for about 5.5 years at Mental Health America. We are a 71-year-old organization based in Sheboygan County. We were formerly known as Mental Health America in Sheboygan County, but to be more inclusive in regards to our geographical location and the touch points of individuals that we work with throughout the region, we did change our name to Mental Health America Lakeshore. We are one of 2 affiliates in the state of Wisconsin. The other affiliate is Mental Health America Wisconsin, located in Milwaukee. And then we're one of 144 affiliates across the nation. And we fall under the National Mental Health America, who is the leading group on advocacy, making sure that we have mental health parity for all, meaning if you broke your arm today and you went to the hospital, you would have service for your broken arm. That has not been the case for somebody who is having emotional, behavioral health, psychiatric issues. When they're going in, your insurance and many insurances still are not paying to the level that they need to be paying. So we need advocates out there like Mental Health America and other organizations to make sure that we are holding insurance companies and our federal government to make sure that we are treating mental illness the way that we are treating physical health.
Efficient. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, I run around the community quite a bit here, and I speak to a lot of people, and quite a bit, kids, a lot actually, and getting these resources out there, I think, will help with that, and so people know where to go, call, things like that. And I think you're absolutely right, being able to properly cope with those situations. I mean, I've never been in an intense situation like that, but I've had times where I've had anxiety really bad and didn't know who to call, or you know what I mean, didn't know what was going on when it's gotten like that. So bringing these resources up, but
yeah, you hear stories all the time about mental health being a relay to your physical health. If mentally you're down or in a depressive state, then physically it impacts you as well. And if we can get you to a positive state, then physically, hopefully things are coming up. So the idea of getting both physical and mental healthcare settings on the same level, it's very important to everybody, and hopefully we can achieve that at some point.
Yeah, we're working, when we talk about COVID, the numbers of self-reporting around mental illness has gone up. So have suicide rates. But through all of this, the silver lining for us within the mental and behavioral health field has been we're talking about our mental health finally. We're reducing that stigma. We no longer can afford as a nation worldwide to ignore what's occurring, especially with our youth, as you stated, Koki. Eating disorders, for example, if we're going to talk about a mental illness, more than doubled during COVID with men and girls and boys, with our youth. It's just imperative that we have these conversations today, because the sooner that we can get an individual into care, the sooner that they can start on their road to recovery. We don't want individuals calling law enforcement or mobile crisis in that stage 4 when somebody is having a mental health crisis. I mean, they're there if you need it to happen, but we want to catch those signs and symptoms early and get you into care. And that normalizing, people go to talk therapy, people utilize medication, people utilize support groups and peers to get them through this path. Nobody is going to leave this earth, I always say, with, I had the best life and I had no mental health issues at all. It's not real. Everyone struggles, and we have to normalize that.
And bringing that up, actually, so when I was incarcerated, so I lost a large amount of weight, and I had an eating disorder in there. However, hearing you say that other men struggle with that, I mean, I'm okay talking about what I do, but hearing that eased it anyways, hearing that other people go through that, because in there, I would have never said anything, and I would have never told anybody up until within the last few years since I learned who I was. But to hear that is, talking here, that's a big help, and that's one of the things I work on, is helping men be able to talk, because we don't, and it took me a long time to get through it. And now I wear my heart on my sleeve, but I want people to see that. And I think speaking like this and talking, man, that really helped me. Actually, I appreciate that, because I didn't expect you to say that or touch on that subject.
That's part of the stigma, though, right?
Yep.
It is, I don't want to be seen as weak. Well, are you weak because you're not saying anything, or are you weak because you are saying anything? To me, it's if you're holding it in and not saying anything, it's making yourself worse. If you're able to get out there and make yourself uncomfortable, talk about it, that's growth. If you're going to be, hanging out, not saying anything, you're not growing, you're not getting any better as a person. But if you're able to talk about it, Koki talking about it helps other people all the time.
Yes.
We can see it, videos, in person. People flock to Koki. And it's part of being out there.
I tell people what I was missing. I sat in prison, and I've been sober before, but I never community. I never connected with the people around me. And I'm growing each and every day to believe that's what I was missing. And that's how I'm able to stay sober, and knowing I can talk to anybody. I can go out in this community, and it doesn't matter who it is, I can talk to anybody. And knowing that, and they know that I'm an addict in recovery, they don't judge me, it's amazing. And helping other people to see that stigma, that it's okay. We all struggle. Like people, sometimes because I smile all the time, people don't think I struggle. That's why I talk about it, so that people can see I can still smile. But I have to work on things too.
Yeah, I mean, even in my career field, we have peer support. We have executive peer support. So the police chiefs, the administrators that say there's a shooting or something like that, or one of their officers dies. We have a peer support group just for them, because we know at a higher leadership level, you're not really going to be able to say what you want to someone that's not in that same level. So if you have a group of the same people that have probably seen very similar things, we have that set up. It's the leader program.
And do you think it gets utilized enough?
Yeah. It's something that's utilized. We have our own app. We have, it's obviously it's a little sensitive to law enforcement type stuff. Law enforcement is not nearly as secretive as it used to be, or at least as seen. But now that we have the app and all that, it's easier to contact someone. Maybe you didn't know who to contact. Sometimes you go to outside organizations. That same level of trust versus someone that's in your same spot that has likely been through all this, or is peer support trained. Probably going to be easier to go have that conversation, even by phone or whatever. So it's great to see the stigma or the weakness, I guess, kind of fade away in our career field, because we do have a high suicide rate. We see things, every contact we have, it's never, I'm just going to stop and say hi. People think it's the worst thing ever sometimes. Me talking to kids at schools, I enjoy it. The kids enjoy it. It's great. But if I'm coming to your house because you called, it's probably a really bad day. So that's what we see all the time. And then, that's just our basic, we're talking to you, traffic stops. Who enjoys being pulled over? Well, all right. Yeah, you're going to freestyle.
He raised his hand, by the way.
I get to rap for them.
Yeah. But ultimately, if you get pulled over, it is a stressful, just what did I do wrong? Oh my God, I'm going to have to pay for this. It may be a warning. It may be hey, you have a tail light out. But that initial stop is going to raise that anxiety initially.
So I don't know if you're, but I'm getting at award Thursday. When I got the letter in my mailbox, instantly I was like, I get a ticket or something? What is?
Just brought you back to when we first met, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to talk to you.
It was triggering to them.
Yeah, immediately, but then I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. Smack myself in the head. I'm not.
So if you haven't seen, Koki was put in for a Citizen Service Award. When I first met Koki, obviously it was a little different for me. Someone dancing and freestyling, even the hugs. However, I see what Koki does in the community and the impact he has on people. Even at Rogers, when we went to visit there after our last episode, somebody literally came up to him in a facility and thanked him for everything he does. So it was important for me. Now I put that award in last year. I submitted, the application to have you awarded. They agreed, and now on Thursday we'll go have dinner.
Something, a lot of this, and then not everybody knows. Mental Health America is some of the first people that reached out to me. Even help me do a support group, and eventually I'll come back around too, and I can get it technically in line, all of it's set up so it's done properly. Because I let my passion get in front of my business sense a lot of times. I am very passionate about what I do, and Mental Health America actually saw that right away. But I really commend what y'all do. I see you anywhere I am. A lot of times y'all are there too, in the community, at events, hands-on right there, and it's very inspiring and it's much needed.
So I just wanted to just circle back to what you were both talking about, and if you're listening to this today, we have two men here speaking about mental health. It's important that, if you're listening to this, that we're normalizing these conversations for men. 80% of suicides in the United States are men, 80%. It takes all of us, women that are listening to this, check on your men, and through peer support, that is shifting. The federal government has finally recognized that peer support can make more changes in behavior than almost anything else, that they're putting, backing around reimbursement for peer support. This is huge, where we're going in the future. And I know the Director of Health and Human Services here, he previously worked in La Crosse, and he worked with a lot of peers, and he's trying to build a lot of peers here within the work that's happening within the county. This is good. This is good stuff. So all of our support groups that we run are all peer-led also. No clinician. So if you're listening to this and thinking, what is peer support? It's someone with lived experience that has walked the path of whatever that is. Some of our support groups are women's chronic pain, parents that have lost a child at any age, a widow's support group, a foster parent support group, grief. I have a whole list, and it's on our website. You can see what we do, and they're all free programs at MHA Lakeshore.org.
Those are available on my pages too. I post their stuff as well, so if you need, I always have links to them. I even did one of them support groups. I'm actually trained in peer support specialist. I still have to take my exam though. But that was something they really expressed, is that things are changing
Yes.
with peer support. I was surprised at some of the stuff that I learned in there, because when I initially went through AODA and stuff like that was in '02, when I was in the prison system, and the recovery was very cut and dry. And now I'm starting to learn the lived experience of bringing, because there's many avenues for people to recover and stuff. And it is changing. I've been hearing that more. Lived experience.
Yeah, similar circumstances. You can have an easier conversation. It's not so forced. Or, the idea of laying on a couch and just talking while someone's writing behind you, right? That's what you see when you think mental health. And as we're moving past that, it becomes a general conversation that should be easier. But oftentimes, just as a topic, we're not willing, especially as men, willing to tackle.
Absolutely.
Most of us, a lot of us love football. We love watching people tackle each other, but we won't tackle our own issues, right? I mean, I've struggled, weight-wise. I've struggled with my weight my entire life, and it's been something. And I'll talk about it. Okay, I'm healthy, but it's still, mentally a strain, because it's always oh God, again, and I'll lose 20, and then I'll be right back. I hit that first goal, and there's never that second goal step. And okay, but that's why I talk about it, because I know if I talk about it, I'll get some insight or some ideas. Pokey's lost. You're still down over 100, right?
I still, however, struggle with. I don't see myself like that. People are like,
No.
"You're getting big, man." I don't see myself. I don't want to run with my shirt off because of that. I'm still that big guy in my head.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't change overnight. I worked on it. I still have social anxiety. Hearing you talk about that, it helps me.
Yeah, I mean, as part of my own growth, and maybe I've talked about this before on here or not, but I learned a couple years ago of a thing called DDPY. The old wrestler DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, started his own yoga, but it's not your grandma's yoga is the tagline, right? But
Nice.
It's helped so many people. I have a buddy Ken up in the UP, over 300 pounds. Another guy, Justin, he's up to almost 400 pounds lost. This is weight loss. That's carrying 2-3 people, depending on how you add it up. Yeah. And that's just lost because of the fitness routine, and that you get set in your routine. It's something you enjoy doing. But then he also adds in a food aspect to it, right? So here's some, non-GMO, and he gets into all that stuff. But ultimately, here's some, he calls them recipes, like wrestling, but recipes.
Nice.
Recipes. But he actually gets on there. And then some of the people that are in this group that are ambassadors to the program create their own recipes. And it just starts to build and build and build. And he was on Shark Tank trying to sell it, and they said no. And now there's millions of members across the world.
Or like those Southern positivity.
But it's one of those things that you get into your new routine, your new mindset, and you keep moving forward. But it's a whole community-based group. It's online, it's in person. There's fitness involved. There's I still call them recipes. But there's all sorts of different things and aspects to it. And I think mental health locally can have that same impact. It's just a matter of how it's delivered.
That's my whole thing.
That's the problem. It looks delicious, and here I am. No, kidding. But so back to topic. Julie, how do people get in touch with Mental Health America Lakeshore?
Sure. So one of our programs, our Wellness Access Program, has a full-time resource specialist. This is a free program for the community. You can call. Her name is Dawn. She's wonderful, very empathetic. You can email, you can call us, you can fill out a form on our website. Our website is MHALakeshore.org. This program will help you get into services, will provide you the mental health education that you need to be able to make your next steps. And that can be, you're calling for a coworker, you're calling for your kids, you're calling for yourself, you're calling for your loved one, doesn't matter. Give us a call and we can help you start that journey into mental, behavioral, or addiction services. So we can help with all of that. If you're looking for general services in our community, you can always contact 211, which has everything from food, housing, childcare, you name it. 211 is the next number to call. A little bit more about us. We do a variety of different educational programs throughout the community. We work K through 12 schools. We work higher learning. We do a student ambassador program in the high schools. We do community educational classes, everything from art to walking in the woods. We have our LL Bean program happening all this year. Check that out. That's all free. And then we do workplace wellness. And then our community programs, we do a lot of suicide prevention trainings, advocacy work, and then our support group. So we do a lot. We have a team of 5 people, so it's a lot.
Awesome people.
Yes, it's a great group.
And an awesome dog, too.
Yes.
Yeah, no dog today. Ambassador to Snuggle Muffins is Ferdy.
Yes, that's
It's
right.
okay.
Anytime you can come in and see Ferdy. And we're located in Plymouth. We have a building there.
So what, do you work closely with local partners, or is it just when that resource comes in that's needed, you reach out to that resource?
We are definitely always thinking upstream with our partnerships. We have a variety of partners out there. The list would go on forever. And if you're out there thinking, hey, we haven't partnered with them and you want to partner with us, let us know.
I partner with them.
Yes, Koki partnered with us. We partnered with the Sheriff's Office, Sheboygan Police Department. We sit on the Crisis Intervention Training Team for the county. And yeah, contact us.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the law enforcement, Mental Health America connection,
Yeah.
When we go for someone that's in immediate crisis or a manic state, unfortunately, one of those things we have to do is assess where they're at. We call mobile crisis, or right now we're partnering with Elevate. Elevate will come in, make the assessment, whether or not that case by case, but this scenario is in need of a chapter. If not, then it could be a stay at home or a couple phone calls, depending on how they work it. What aspect of that do you guys become involved in?
So really, we're on the educational end. So we talk to a lot of community members, and usually it comes into the crisis point. My loved one right now is not doing well. We're not sure what to do. Should we come in? And we go through a series of questions. Has the person exhibited self-harm behaviors? Have they stated that they want to take their life? What that assessment looks like. We would then contact 911 for that municipality, or mobile crisis. And you mentioned Elevate. So the nonprofit that oversees this county contract is called Elevate. And they come out 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365. They may call you, or they may come on scene, and that could also be at the emergency room. So our local hospital here in Sheboygan is Advocate Aurora, and they have an inpatient mental health, behavioral health unit there where we send a lot of our chapters in the county. And you alluded to the name before. It's a Chapter 51 in the state of Wisconsin, and it can be voluntary or involuntary. And we do get a lot of questions regarding involuntary. I have a loved one at home, or we get this a lot. My grown child lives with us. It's older parents, and their behavior has gotten very bizarre, and they're not taking their medication or whatever that might look like. That caregiver is feeling like this person is no longer caring for themselves, may do self-harm to themselves or to others. And that really builds a case in the state of Wisconsin to do an involuntary chapter. And all of this goes through law enforcement and the court system here But if you're ever looking for more information on that, you can always call us, or you can go to Health and Human Services website in Sheboygan County for more information on what that looks like. And we do have what's called navigation maps on our website, and so does the county, on what a chapter looks like and also how to access services within the county. So those are all laid out there. Actually, they're called road maps now, but they're there on the website. It's a lot of information, and I always tell people you don't need to know. We're all in this field, and it's difficult for us to navigate.
Yeah.
We work with so many professionals that say, hey, and this is a therapist calling, I have this patient, I don't know what to do, where to send this person. It's a very complex system. And it's also a broken system. And I will always say that our system is broken, but we have resources to connect you to where you need to go. And you need advocates. So every single person who's on this podcast right now is an advocate. We have a whole tribe of advocates within our communities. You just have to reach out for help.
Yep. Yeah, we have a couple different options when it comes to the idea of Chapter 51. So in Wisconsin, we have the 51, which is the emergency detention for mental health or psychiatric need. You have a 5145 that if you've been drinking too much and you're found, say, lying in an alley, unfortunately that seems to be the most common. Then we can bring you to the hospital until you're sober. And then the Chapter 55 is if somebody is so ill, it could be an infection that's making them have delusions. It could be stroke victims that otherwise we can't force to go to the hospital to get checked out, but clearly they're not in the right frame of mind to care for themselves. So we can do that. The hardest part, I think, for us is that system. We have a thing called the Dementia Task Force, but we can't place someone that's been diagnosed with dementia under Chapter 51, even though they're seeing, recently one was Santa Claus. And it's common. They'll call time and time and time again and hang up, either hang up or not get the answers they want, or argue with the 911 dispatcher who could be taking that phone call for a bad crash or something else. So the system for us can be frustrating at times because a lot of if you're diagnosed with dementia, our hands are kind of tied. We have to rely on the family. But a lot of times the stress, the mental health that dementia projects to the siblings or the children of that patient then contribute, and now they don't have the time to care for that patient. And then they're struggling with their own stuff because now they've been caring for someone else and not caring for themselves. Right. So in any aspect, I don't know, it's definitely broken. We're doing our best.
Yes.
Not every scenario plays out the way we want it to. There are times that when I was on the road, it was we really need to find something. And we just didn't have that resource available at that time. After business hours, whole different level of frustration because now it's on-call people. Years ago when it was mobile crisis out of Green Bay, you're literally calling someone in Green Bay, then they would have to call down to Sheboygan, and Elevate's more local now, but mobile crisis, and it was always that way. You call Green Bay, they'd call someone else, wake them up, or they're already at the hospital dealing with someone else, and then you still have to wait. So it's a rough system. We do the best we can as a law enforcement side of it. We do the crisis intervention. So on third shift, where I'm currently at, I know we have one or two clients. I don't want to call them patients because we're not practitioners, but we have the peer support mindset. I guess I'll use that to go in and just have that conversation. Hey, how you doing? Have you been taking your medications? What are your current stressors? What is your struggle? And we'll just have that conversation if that person reaches out. Yeah. On third shift, we don't want to just go wake people up to talk to them sometimes, but if they reach out, we have that ability. All three of our shifts, the city police department actually has Elevate riding with them right now, depending on the hours. But they actually have a squad car with an Elevate personnel in there so they can go to those manic scenes and make the assessment right there. And it's a system that's moving towards positive outcomes, but still has its new kinks in the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this is the wave of the future across the nation right now, embedding behavioral health therapists with law enforcement, because the calls, that's not just here, it's across the nation right now. And we know that this framework works. So the fact that we got funding in this county to embed therapists with law enforcement, it's been a game changer. And I look forward to what those metrics are going to show down the road, because it allows law enforcement, who's been asked to play social workers for many years, to go back to working with the community and addressing those needs. And mental health calls have just been running parallel to all of those other calls right now. So, we see it. And if you're listening, we need everyone's voices when bills come up on the state level. We need funding for all of these initiatives that we're talking about. And we have a lot of local representatives in our region that sit on the mental health and finance committees and those initiatives. And we need to make sure that we keep on top of them and educating them on why it's important. So our voices matter.
Well, these resources are helping me too, because I am approached a lot in the community, and I don't have the training that y'all have. And I do the best I can, but having a resource, at least I can point them in the right direction. But I got screamed at not too long ago, but I didn't really know what to do, even though I know they were struggling with mental stuff. Learning and connecting with y'all helps me too, and knowing that these resources are out here, even for what I do.
Absolutely.
don't forget you're a resource yourself, though.
Oh,
Yes, that's right.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
spread smiles.
When you go instruct at a law enforcement training, right, and you're on part of the panel, that says something. You wouldn't have been there 3 years ago, right? But where you're at now, you're doing things whether you realize it or not, right? You're a resource yourself. Even coming here and everything we've learned between Lindy at Samaritan's Hand or treatment court, Rogers with Dion and Jamie. There's a lot of great information between all those people and their local resources. And I think that's something that's forgotten, is we're local resources as well. My resource that I can provide is something that's not exactly always viewed as positive.
He hugs, though, I swear.
It's usually one arm hugs. It is what it is. Don't give away the secret, Koki.
I actually don't know how to, when I'm around law enforcement, because I work with Kim also for the outreach. I'm like, I say that to him, too, am I allowed to hug?
Yeah. Let's tell you straight out, I don't care. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I think people forget that we're all the same. Me sitting in here, it blows my mind every time I do this, that I'm sitting in here from where I was before. And you saying that actually almost made me cry, didn't it? It was close. It was close. You almost did, but
I know how to get you there.
I do forget sometimes, and part of this too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can do anything, I promise.
That's right.
So is there any other aspect of Mental Health America we should really be thinking of or promoting?
I mean, as far as our wellness access program, I mean, this is the biggest, whoever's listening to this is probably your biggest resource. It's just making sure that there's somebody to help you navigate the system, and it's free. So contact us.
Okay. And Dawn's awesome.
Dawn is, yeah, she is.
Again, looking for Songamuffin Ambassador Ferdy.
Yes, I'm Ferdy.
The pups.
Yeah. I did see on your website there's a symposium, Mind the Mind Symposium at Blue
yes.
Harbor.
Yes, June 19th.
What is that? What does that all entail, and who's it aimed at?
Yes. So we have speakers coming from all over the nation, and our keynote is Sinclair, who's coming from Texas, to talk about his experience around bipolar disorder. And he's just a man full of hope. So I think he's going to kick off a dynamic one-day event. We have a lot of self-care, informational, professional class. There's a mix for each of the breakout sessions. There's a little bit of everything in there. So if you're thinking, I'm not a therapist or I don't work in this field, there's a lot of sessions throughout the day just for working on your own mental health. But it should be a great day. And we still have tickets available, but we will sell out, and we are closing registration June 5th. So if you want to come, get your tickets.
What is the cost for something like that?
I believe it's $199 for the
Okay.
day. And that includes breakfast and lunch and a full day and networking event at the end of the day and vendor table, all
It's
the
awesome.
fun
I was
stuff.
there last year.
Yeah. Last year we did it at UW Green Bay, which was wonderful. But this year we moved it to Blue Harbor to help with our, putting on a conference. So
People coming from all over,
Yes.
hotel rooms, water park.
absolutely. The water park, yes.
No, and when I looked through, it wasn't just, say, psychotherapists. It wasn't just, someone in the field. It's people that are writers or authors or
Yes.
I saw one was an artist. However they're invited, obviously they're doing something that Mental Health America says we need you to come talk, right? It's that same conversation, the experience part.
Yes.
I would probably have a hard time having a conversation with someone in the field based on some of the wordage, right?
Mhm.
But if I'm talking to someone, say like Koki, who lived the experience and continues to live through the experience, it's an easier conversation or easier to pull on.
Yeah.
So if you're not in the field, still go.
Still go.
Find
Lots of people
find a
coming.
breakout if you can afford it. Find a breakout session that applies. They're all listed. There's a little bio on the speaker at that point, but if you're able to make it, Blue Harbor's a great place, right on the lakeshore. Breakfast, lunch, and some learning to make yourself a little more uncomfortable, which is great.
It is great. Thank you for the plug. Yes.
Always looking for the plugs. So, anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Well, I'm going to give a shameless plug to myself because this is something that makes me very uncomfortable, but here we go. So this podcast is part of a class project that I'm doing for the Wisconsin Command College. We're all chiefs, lieutenants, captains. We're a hire, right? One of our other projects is a group project. This is my individual project. Our group project, we got together and wrote a book. I published it last
I saw
week.
it, your post of it.
So we have, it's, again, very uncomfortable. So the book is on Amazon or Kindle. It's digital only at this point, but I am playing around with paperback, so Amazon will print it once ordered. So right now it's called Guardians of the Midwest, Wisconsin Officers' Journey Through the Ranks. We have 500 years of combined law enforcement experience in the book, and it's all stories about, like my story is a little more fun. Just a, what the heck was that kind of call? But what I did find was, we published it last week. There's currently 93,000 books in the Kindle store. As of right now, we are number 9 in history of Midwestern U.S., number 10 in law enforcement in the Kindle store, and number 30 in law enforcement books.
Wow, congratulations.
So
That's awesome.
shout out to Class 10. Again, we're all over the state. There's 3 of us from Sheboygan County in there now, but people as far as Dunn County and Buffalo County and all over the place. So
Let me know if you ever have Positivity Police on there.
we can write a book. I know how to publish it. So as far as Mental Health America, again, website, MHA Lakeshore.org. Located in Plymouth. Did you want to give the address?
410 South Milwaukee Street, couple blocks up from the Big Cow.
Gotta love the big cow.
I got to take pictures by that stuff.
All right. Is there a phone number? Do they just walk in?
So our open hours are Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 3, Monday and Friday by appointment. If you're going to come by, you can just stop in between those hours. If you want to make an appointment with Dawn, call ahead.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. I think that's it for today.
Thank you so much.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you, Julie. This was great. Cookie. Fun as
Thank
always.
you.
Almost got you to cry again.
Oh, yes.
We're going to get there.
I'm the crier of the bunch.
That's okay. It just shows you're passionate.